Facebook groups are where I found some of my favorite and best long-term freelance clients. When done correctly, this strategy can land you some awesome peeps. So let's break down my strategy. Sounds very professional. It's not super professional. Step by step, and what I recommend to those of you that want to take this tactic seriously. Hey, my name is Dea, freelancer, digital business manager, and most recently entrepreneur. And as always, you can find sections on the play bar below if you want to skip to a certain part of the video. Your time is precious, so take what you need. And if you want to watch this on 2x, I will not be offended in the least. Okay, let's dive into the video. So here are my top 5 tips to landing clients in Facebook groups. The first one is read the group rules. So many people do not do this. They roll into a Facebook group and they're like, all right, it's a free-for-all, it's a wild digital west, I'm just gonna post whatever I want. And most of the time what they end up posting is self-promotional content. Do not do this. Try your best to pull that back. I almost try to never even promote myself whatsoever. Everything I do in this Facebook group strategy for landing clients is like super geared towards not selling openly in any shape or form, in any way that it can be misconstrued. And I see this all the time, that people join a bunch of groups and begin self-promoting in like comments or posts. Like, no. That is the easiest way to get yourself kicked out of a group and have admin be really upset at you, right? So put yourself into the perspective shoes of the person running a Facebook group and really think about, what do they care about? Like, they care about people helping one another in the group, building great value in their group, providing the group with what they need. If everyone is promoting all the time, like, the group is going to end up being pretty like spammy and useless, and eventually nobody will want to check it. Always refer back to the group rules first. Read through them to make sure that you're abiding by everything. You really want to respect the person that has spent all this time and money to grow this community and protect it. And if you take care of it, I promise they will recognize that and they'll see that, and they'll also want to tag you and stuff and refer you to stuff. So just make sure that the first thing you're always doing is checking the group rules and not breaking any group rules whatsoever. And just a good rule of thumb is don't promote openly. I have never been in a group. I think I've joined like hundreds of groups at this point. I've never been in a group where promoting openly was allowed for a continuous amount of time. Yeah, it just does not lead to a good outcome if everybody's always trying to take, right? Like, this constant taking from the group is not what we want. We want to have that give and take and have it be fair and balanced. So the second thing that sometimes people forget is to optimize your personal account profile. And this is a really important tip, because most of what you're going to be doing in the groups, if somebody is intrigued by your comments, by your posts, or anything like that from the strategy, they're going to want to click over to your personal Facebook page. And I also recommend joining with a personal account. A lot of groups won't let like Facebook pages join their groups just because it's obvious that it's a business account and they think that that person is probably coming in to promote. So if possible, join with your personal account, but just tidy up your personal account. For sure, like, make sure your profile at first glance is relatively professional. Make sure you have a short and crystal clear bio as well on your Facebook profile, like that little space you have. A good template is always, I help XYZ do XYZ so they can XYZ. That gives clarity to a potential person who's interested about your services. 1, if they are the right fit. 2, what exactly you can do. And 3, why they should care about it. So that's always a good template you can follow, and put that on your Facebook profile so that anybody that goes to check out your profile immediately gets that clear message. And what you'll definitely want to do is also link up as many things as you can. So link up to your business Facebook page if you have one, link up to your website, and have some sort of a call to action to the next step of your client funnel. So most of the time I recommend it's something like, book a free 15 minutes strategy call with me here, or book a free 15-minute clarity call with me here. Just something that entices them to get onto your calendar, because once they're on your calendar, it's much easier to have them get to know you and trust you, and for you to diagnose what exactly they need and see if your services are even the right fit for this person. So that's really important, is on your profile page, make sure you have that clarity of what you do, link up anything so they have multiple ways of getting into contact with you, and then having some sort of a CTA. It can also be message me, but I feel like that's not as good, because then you'll probably get a bunch of like random DMs. The best thing really is to just get people on a call and make sure that they're qualifying themselves by making it clear who the service is right for, or who you are best fit to serve, essentially. So once you have that set up, and like at first first glance your profile looks okay, you can send it to a friend or send it to somebody from your business community and just be like, hey, can you give this a quick look? There's also like a setting on your Facebook profile page where you can see like view this as somebody blah 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 who's like not on Facebook, somebody who is a friend or something like that. Do that and see what pops up. Like, what are the first images that pop up? What's your cover image look like? You know, is anything strange? If yes, just hide it. You don't even have to delete it. And yeah, just like really polish that first impression up, because that will definitely make a big difference as to whether or not people take that next step or even know what the next step to take with you is. All right, the third thing to do is to look for and pick 3 to 5 strategic groups. Don't pick too many, all right? Here's like really quality over quantity. It's better to have a stronger presence in 2 groups than a mediocre one in 10 groups. So how do we pick strategic groups? The first question to ask is, where are your ideal clients, right? And this concept of red ocean versus blue ocean, I think is very applicable here, where, you know, it's this analogy of like the red ocean is where there's like a lot of competition. The ocean is red because everything is super bloody. Everyone's fighting for like clients and everything. And blue ocean is where it's beautiful and there are plenty of fish and they're all swimming and there are lots of clients and everything's amazing. There is paradise, like the Little Mermaid lives in the blue ocean. So you kind of want to think about, am I in the red ocean in the groups that I'm choosing, or am I in the blue ocean, right? So red ocean, I think sometimes we fall into this pitfall where we join a lot of groups with other freelancers and peers. So like, yes, freelancing groups can be good to join sometimes because clients do sometimes join these to post jobs, but chances are they aren't in those groups regularly because the business owners you're looking for, unless they are freelancers, tend not to be in those groups because that's not where they are in their businesses right now. So most of the time, your people are actually not in freelancing groups or groups of your peers. And if you do most of your work there, it is kind of like a red ocean because everybody there is trying to fight for the same clients, right? So on the other hand, blue ocean is groups where your target person is, right? So there are lots of different ways to kind of find groups or filter groups. The first one is like by niche and industry, right? So like if your target is a coach, join coaching groups. If your target is an author, join author groups. If your target is an Etsy shop owner, like go join an Etsy shop owner groups. You know, if your target is an online course creator, you can join Kajabi, Kartra, LearnDash, Padaya. I don't know if that's how you say that. Teachable, Thinkific. They all have Facebook groups, like go join those. If your people are service providers, join those groups, right? Specific to that specific service provider, like graphic designers, copywriters, like there are this is not stats. I don't know. I didn't look this up, but there are probably millions of Facebook groups out there. There are niched groups for really any kind of target, like client niche you might be going for. So just take your time and find something that is actually aligned with the people you want to work with and not just a group full of other people who do exactly it is what you do. So 3 ways to search for groups on Facebook. The first one is use keywords. So what are some keywords that people that you want to work with are using? Are they using like digital marketing? Are they looking for ads help? Are they looking for SEO help? Are they looking for other copywriters? Or maybe your target is a specific kind of coach. So what kind of keywords would they be using? You know, I'm not super familiar with the coaching industry, but have a think, brainstorm some keywords, pop them into Facebook. The second thing you can think about, which I briefly mentioned just now, is thinking about tools that your target client is using, right? So if you are targeting online course creators, chances are they are using an online course creation tool like Teachable, Thinkific, Padaya, LearnDash. So chances are they are in those groups. So those groups are probably perfect if you're trying to target online course creators. So you can filter by those tools and join all of them, right? Join the ones that are best fit for the target client that you are after. The third thing to keep in mind is kind of like the size of company. Like make sure the people in the group that you're joining can actually afford your price points. If you're a premium business, a group of people looking for like free stuff and cheap stuff is probably not the best place. So definitely have a think about that as well. The third thing you'll want to do is check through the content of the Facebook group already. What types of posts are shared? How are they interacting with one another? You can have a look and see if they have any like daily or weekly threads, or if they use any specific kinds of hashtags to, write down anything. For example, a lot of the groups, when I was looking for clients, they would use a hashtag like hashtag job posting. So I would just write down all the hashtags that I wanted to keep track of, and I put it in my notes. And that also kind of makes everything easier because once a week, I would just like pop all those hashtags into Facebook and just like look up all the latest job postings or job op. So that's going to be really useful for a later step as well. And now what you'll want to do is take 15 to 30 minutes a day and actually check each of these 3 to 5 strategic groups and give value, and do this consistently. All right. My biggest tip here is really try to come from a genuine place of wanting to help. Don't focus on selling. When you focus on selling, people are less likely to want to listen to you or take you as a credible source because you are seen as biased towards yourself and making money, right? So give value. You know, when you notice people struggling with something, you know, craft like 3 top tips and share those in a comment. Don't ask for anything. Don't pitch. Don't soft sell. Don't CTA to anything. Don't CTA to your free call. And if you're thinking, but Dea, if I give it away for free, why should they hire me? Here's the thing. There are, broadly speaking, 2 types of business owners looking to solve problems. People short on money who want to DIY and want free things, and people who are short on time who want someone to just do it for them and they don't have to think about it or worry about it or do any research. The DIYers are normally not your target audience, but if you answer a question a DIYer is asking, your answer might be seen by a do it for me-er. That's the point. A DIFM, new abbreviation, might know the answer already actually without even seeing your comment, but that doesn't mean that they actually want to do it or have time to implement it. So do not be afraid of this, please. Like, I promise the internet is vast. Like, at this point, everything can be found on the internet. Like, we are not selling top secret strategies or tips that nobody has ever heard of. You are selling your knowledge plus your expertise, plus your customized hands-on approach to this person's unique business, and that is valuable. So don't be worried about, oh, I'm giving away too many free things, and people won't want to like work with me. That's really not how it works in my experience. And when you share value in that way, where you're not afraid of holding back, you are seen as such an authority figure in that group as well. And you can slowly start to like build up more and more hype, right? So for example, a lot of questions that I see in business owner groups that I used to join, where people were asking about like, what are the top project management tools? What would you recommend? Like Asana versus ClickUp versus Trello versus Basecamp. And I would just respond to all of those with my professional opinion. So I would be like, my favorite is this is blah, blah, blah. And sometimes what I would even do is, because this is really what it should be, is asking them questions first to get a little bit more of a feel, because there's no like one size fit all, right? So if you can give them a bit more of a customized approach where it's like, well, tell me a little bit about your business. Like, what are you struggling with your current project management tool? What feels frustrating? And then they respond, and then you write back like, oh, in that case, I would recommend this tool specifically because these 2 reasons, right? Automatically, you've given great value. You've shown your authority. You show that you know how to work with a client specific and customized to that person and their business model. And anybody who sees that is going to recognize that from you. So that's definitely my biggest and best advice when you are doing this strategy, is to take your time and give value. Don't come from a place of selling. Provide value, show your authority, and build your credibility in that group. Other tips, make sure you always ask for permission to DM. Don't just send random DMs. That is just not fun. Make sure to check your message requests, because sometimes there are awesome people hiding in there as well. Another thing that I love to do, and I really recommend to you as well, is to tag other people. Like, for example, if there's somebody that you know in the group who's great at social media and somebody asks a question about help with a social media management tool or something, tag them, right? Like, if you know somebody who is really great at bookkeeping, tag that person in questions about bookkeeping or accounting, things that you probably don't really know much about. Anything outside of your realm, have a few good people who you know are also regular like engagers in the group and tag them. They may return the favor as time goes on, and they're seeing like, it's that like element of reciprocity, right? Like, we always want to reciprocate the nice things people are doing for us. So if you know people, tag them in the post and really build up that back and forth, right? The giving, I'm trying to be helpful and I want you to get help from the best person possible. And from my knowledge, it's this person, for example. Also, another thing I like to do is give testimonials and encouraging words to others you know in the group as well. So like, for example, if a copywriter that I've worked with is in the group, I'll also tag that copywriter, and I won't just like tag their name. I'll be like, oh my gosh, this person is amazing. I worked with her to create an abandoned cart sequence and it's been performing super well, right? That's, again, just an additional layer of potential reciprocity. And over time, that will all lead up to the slow buildup of your authority in these groups as the XYZ expert. And I recommend creating essentially like a mini brand for yourself. Like, you're the Instagram queen or the systems expert. And as you kind of like dive into those niches and, you know, you're like, oh, the person to tag for a project management question is always Dea, right? Then everybody starts to recognize that, like, oh, you're the best person to tag for that. And everybody will start adding to that as you build your presence in the group. And that's super helpful. And I know that this will take a while. So my other tip is also definitely to treat this as a serious sales and marketing strategy and do it consistently for a few months before you give up. Don't just do this like once or twice, like comment once or twice in some random group and then call it a day. So definitely make sure you like put the time in your calendar to do this in those strategic groups. So picking groups is really important. But one final note is do keep in mind that Facebook is kind of a specific platform. And if you're looking to land higher and more premium businesses, they might not be in Facebook groups. Higher paying clients I found are sometimes behind gates, like paid memberships or paid networking events. So if you're wanting to target those types of clients, I would rework your strategy or try it and kind of monitor the stats. If it's like a younger or older demographic, if Facebook may not also be their target social media platform of choice. I'm hearing from the younger peeps. I just felt so old in that moment. I felt like the oldest person in the history of the world when I said that. Anyway, the younger peeps are telling me that they're not at all on Facebook and they don't even want to use Facebook anymore. So that's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, those are my big tips. I'm going to link a few of my favorite Facebook groups below because sometimes the links change. So I want to keep the description box updated instead of telling you things verbally. But again, like I'm going to share some groups, but those groups are not your strategic groups. You have to find where your ideal people are and go to the blue ocean. Don't go into a bunch of job posting groups and kind of like, I mean, those are good and sometimes you'll find good opportunities there, but it's better to go where you can build authority and be that person, like be the systems expert in a group full of online course creators, right? Because then you're not fighting with a bunch of other, like not fighting, I mean like community over competition and everything, but like you're not competing against your peers for one job, if that makes sense. So I hope that was useful. If you have landed a client via Facebook group, let me know below. I'd love to know. And I'll see you in the next video. All right.